Okay, I'm going to do a video today about light source and shadows and trying to put a little dimension into a collage. I really like this collage and it's perfect. It's done. It's perfect. But I want to make it more interesting, have a little more drama. Now, what I did was I copied this page and I did made some changes on, rather than do the, use this as a test page because it's only one. I made some copies and used different techniques on them. They're very subtle, but I just wanted to show them to you. This is a Stabilo, which it's one of these pencils that smudges, and I went around and I consider the light source coming from here. When the light source comes from here, this is this part that gets the shadow. And with the Stabilo, when I used it, it smudged more than I expected. But I do like the way it looks. Now, if you compare the two, you'll see this looks much more dramatic and dynamic, I think. This is very flat looking, and this gets more dimension. So I kind of like the Stabilo, but it did a lot of over smudging. And it's also may need a fixative before I put on the finishing varnish on it. But I won't worry about that now. It's easy to just spray something so it doesn't move around. But when I wet my finger, it didn't even move. But this paper is copy paper, and this is the old book paper. And so there's always there's a difference there. There could be a difference with that. The next thing I tried was a pen. And this light source is, again, coming from here. So I'd only put the shadow in on this side because the light source is coming this way. And the pen was narrow. And if you compare the two, I think this looks better than this. So I wasn't crazy about the pen. And that was the light source. And then I did a micron pen. One of these things that artists use these all the time. Micron number 8, and so it's a thicker shadow. But I didn't really get around it, because it doesn't smudge. You make a mistake or something, you really notice it, or if you go off the lines or you make it thicker. It wasn't even. And then if you compare the two there, I still like this more. And then if you compare these two. I like this, but it's very obvious what you're doing, which I don't like. It looks too obvious. So that was not crazy. I wasn't crazy about that. And then the final one I did was a pen with full circles. I just went around the whole thing. I've done it a few times in other collages I've done. So I was just going around, not paying attention to the light, not paying attention to the shadow of the cast, and just going circles. And you can see the two together. It does look much better here, I think. It just gives it more interest, the smudging and considering the light coming from this angle. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do the Stabilo and show you how to do the Stabilo, how I did it anyways on this. And I did do a sample page with one circle I had on another page to see if it would sort of work on this paper, and it works okay. So we're going to just do it. So I'll be doing it live, and hopefully it'll come out like this. So we'll see. It won't be so bland. It'll have more punch to it, and you'll notice the circles more. Some circles are getting lost in the text, and so the Stabilos, I don't know if you ever used these. They're Stabilo pencils. So they move with water. So that could be an issue, as I said. When I put the final coat on, it could move it. But I'm going to test that on the other one I did, and if it moves it, I won't. I'll put a spray on it first, and then put the coating on that I was talking about, the Minwax. Okay, so how you do this? Well, there are many ways of doing it, but what you do is what I'm doing. Okay, so light source is coming this way, so we're just shadowing underneath all of these. And so we're just going to kind of go around. And it's easy to go around with a pencil. It is a pencil. I'm just going to go around all of them. I could just leave it like that, I guess, but it's the that smudging, I think, that makes the difference in the quality of the how it looks. Makes it look more dimensional. I'm just going around the underside. If the light source was coming from this way, you'd be doing it over this way on the opposite side. So we're considering the light coming this way. It's just, that's arbitrary. The important thing is when you start doing this, you do it the same on all of them. Okay. Already I like how it looks. Then we have the big circle here. So it's going to draw attention to the circles and not make them look so boring. Okay, so I have these this on there. And actually, this looks kind of nice, just the way it is. Light's coming from this way. And then what I do is, this is a smudge tool, but it doesn't really work with, because this is activated with water, I dip the smudge tool in a little bit of water. And then I just go around and it'll start stretching it out. And then I can even go on the circle. Oh, this is working out beautifully, if I do say so myself. And I do say so myself. This was after many, attempts to use different things. I was looking for charcoal in my stash of art materials, but the charcoal I know would move, and I don't want it to move that much. So I'm just highlighting these, going around very easy along, because it's cut paper, it's easy to find the edge. And you can even bring it a little further on, up onto the circle. Get that smudgy look like. Just go right, follow the stabilo with the water. And even add, you can even bring it with water, bring it up even higher. Let's go in circles so it's there's not a sharp seam on this circle itself. Now that's kind of a little bit more than I wanted, but that's okay. So you're giving I'm giving this picture a little more depth, and I'm adding medium, which is what I've been sort of talking about. At some point I'm going to add more and more and more medium gesso and stuff like that. I'm really liking the way this is turning out. It just gives it more visual interest. As you can just also roll it in there. Okay, and that's it. So I don't have a, well, since I just did this one, I can't compare it to the previous one, but, and then you can probably play around with it a little bit, like if you wanted to you can want to raise the smudge a little bit more. I don't want to raise it too much. That stabilo reacts to water in a good way. I mean, it's a really interesting thing to do. Okay, so if you want a little more dimension in your collage, this is one way of doing it. There's other ways of doing it, of course, but this is doing it with considering the light source and using a stabilo with a little water. As I said, I'm not sure how this would work with the final coat of varnish, but there is a fixative that you can spray on that will seal it, and then you can put the varnish on. But I'll talk more about that at another time. Hope you have found this interesting, and I hope this was in the camera. Yeah, just barely. Okay, have a great day. Thanks for watching.